Never happened before. Millions of mail-in ballots were sent to people who never asked for them. Quick fact check on that. Mr. Trump did not win the election. Yes, he got 71 million votes. They were legal votes. Joe Biden's votes were also legal, but Mr. Trump did not win the election. The BBC's Nomia Iqbal joins us now from Philadelphia, which is, of course, where it all happened. The room where it happened was up there in Philadelphia. Nomia, and Pennsylvania was the state that put him over. I see that they are still celebrating behind you. I guess they're feeling pretty good about themselves in Pennsylvania in the Biden camp today.
Oh, they're feeling very, very happy with themselves. And yes, people are still celebrating here. It's got that kind of music festival vibe about it. And lots of Biden supporters are out. I'm kind of in the centre of this sort of divide, I have to say. So on my left-hand side, there's all the Biden supporters. You might be able to get just a glimpse of their signs and the flags. And someone had held up a sign saying Philadelphia has been defeating tyrants since the day that represents the Declaration of Independence. But not everyone feels like that, Cassie, about the president, because on this side, there are Trump supporters who have turned up to basically echo what the president is saying, that they believe that this election has been stolen from them, that Joe Biden is not on course to be the president-elect. Of course, you know, you mentioned there that the president's been tweeting. There is no evidence of voter fraud at all. Here, that's not distracting from the celebrations. You can hear that the Biden supporters are basically a lot louder than the Trump supporters here.
Nomia, can I just pick up on one specific thing, just to clarify this for our audiences, that the president is referring to in this tweet, where he says that observers were not allowed to see. And that, I think, is a reference to an allegation that was made by the Trump campaign up there in Pennsylvania, that they weren't allowed their observers in. But that was not actually the case, was it?
That's true. There have been observers here the whole time, more than 100, and actually in Allegheny County, which is one of the counties which is still counting its votes, one of the officials there was on the American news networks this morning, and he completely refuted that claim. He said that there are cameras everywhere during the count from both sides, and to quote, he said, "There are so many cameras, it's like being in a casino."
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing we have been hearing is that there had been some criticism for the Trump campaign that they weren't allowed to get close enough, but actually there were Republican and Democratic observers. You weren't allowed to have somebody left alone with a ballot in any case, and you did have poll watchers from the Democratic side and the Republican side, and the question was slightly how close they could be. I think, Nomia, I'm right, that at one point they were moved further away, or they tried to get closer to, and I think this might have been to do with social distancing rules.
That's right, and Mr. Trump did tweet about it to say that this was a huge legal victory for them, but actually the insinuation that I think he made was that no observers were allowed, but they've always been there. There's never been any evidence to suggest what the president is saying. Also, some of the other things that he has said, as well as some of his supporters that I've been speaking to, is that illegal votes have been counted. That's just, again, not true. There's no evidence to back any of that. They don't accept the result. We don't know if Donald Trump will accept the result. There's conflicting reports, some American news networks saying that he's going to see what his legal options are and then potentially concede and do that peaceful transition to power. But as we've just seen from his tweets there, it seems like he's not going down without a fight.
Yeah, slightly conflicting messages. I mean, this tweet may just be for his supporters, and I have been told by a senior member of the Trump campaign that they did want to carry on through the legal route, even though they didn't think it had much chance of success, because they felt they owed it to their supporters. So this may also be a tweet designed for the supporters. And Nomia, just briefly behind you, what's going on? Because it sounds like there are some people who are cheering and some people who are shouting. Is it getting a little tense up there in Philadelphia?
Well, there are police here on standby just in case. At the moment, I mean, I personally don't feel unsafe, put it that way. It's, you know, you do have them heckling one another, having a go at each other. Some Trump supporters come here and then they kind of shuffle off. There's not that many Trump supporters, I should say. They're mainly people who support Joe Biden. They completely vastly outnumber them. And of course, it makes sense. Philadelphia is a Democratic stronghold, and these people are celebrating tonight, and I'm sure it will go on for probably quite a few days.
Okay, Nomia there in Philadelphia for us. Nomia, thanks very much. Let's